Hello again, Struckwap. Welcome back to another day of streaming or evening in my time of Chaosbane. So I don't have much time, so like 2.5 hours. It's gonna be short stream, like 2.5 hours tops. But I wanna do some experimentation today. I wanna test some stuff I always wanted to try, and I think I've got the resources to try it now. First of all, there are some things on Conrad that I really wanted to test, such as builds centered around the the Sigmar's rat, I think was called. Yeah, Sigmar's rat. So that's one thing I want to try, and if I'm gonna be trying a build for Sigmar's rat, this is gonna be the set. So I'm thinking something like this. Something like this might work, maybe like that. We'll see if that's what I'm gonna end up using in the end, but for now that's probably gonna be it. Let's see, here I'm losing 50% bok chance, so if I were to go for let's say we remove parrot armor, and let's say we use Majestic Aura, and we use Blessings of the Brave. We remove this. We're using Shielded Charge. Maybe Justice of the Empire, maybe not. We'll see. So the question is, do I want break through the ranks or not? I'm definitely gonna have to use Sigmar's Rat, and I'm not gonna be using Bastion, or maybe I can use Bastion to heal. And maybe I can just I can probably get rid of break through the ranks is the first thing that I wanna check and test. So use this triple god skills. Maybe it's gonna work. Then what do we want for this skill? We don't need energy, so I'm probably gonna grab indestructible, and I'm probably gonna grab it's not gonna be a counter-attack build, but later I can try the counter-attack build as well. So I'm thinking I've got 9 points. 9 points is a lot of points. Hero of the Desert seems like a good fit. So this is something I kind of wanted to test, never got the time to test it, and I think today would be a good time to do so. So let's say we put some points into this one. Let's say we put one more point here. Maybe something like this maybe. We've got enough reduction, so now first we need to pick the items from this build. Probably gonna grab that one, and then we need to put those items here. Is that counter-attack items or is it regular damage HP items? It seems like regular damage HP items. I've got 20k HP here, and I think this one was 20k, the rest is... oh, this one is also 20k. Maybe I overdid it with the HP. If I need more damage, I can always change some stuff. So that's my legacy gear here. I've not upgraded that gear, and I think I've got some upgrades waiting for me over... I think over here. That's the counter-attack upgrades though. For now, I'm not gonna go for the counter-attack until shortly afterwards, but I wanna do some of that testing. Things I wanted to try, never got the chance to do. So cooldown reduction here, yeah, let's save that for now. This one, I don't think I even need that one. This is for the storage. So I'm not gonna have the mobility I wanted to, but I can try later with a more mobile build. First, checking on Chaos 8 if it can do anything at all. Maybe Tower of Chaos, and then next we're gonna do Chaos 9 afterwards, just to see how good it is with this one. Okay, sorry, had to hydrate here. So let's see. First activate our god skills. This would be perfect for group play. For group play where you're pulling the enemies closer. Do you see how wide the effect of the pulse is? Not sure what happened to repel the enemies. I should be sucking them in. I think it's weird because my heroic skill seems to be pushing the enemies away. Does it say knockback? I don't think it says knockback, but something pushes the enemies away. I'm not using Herald of the Empire, am I? Oh, I am. I am using Herald of the Empire. Okay, that worked fine. Let's try Chaos 9. Or maybe let's try another stage just to see more out of this. So 1, 3, 4, boom. So let's do it like that, next to this NPC. I'm still getting used to this. I'm not sure what's doing most of the damage, whether it's the meteors or my heroic skill. I think this would be perfect for group, so you can kind of taunt all the enemies and pull them with the vacuum to stay together, and then everyone can just AoE the shit out of them. Do you see from how far he's pulling the enemies? And this is gonna be one of the builds I'm gonna make. I'm just gonna tweak it today. I'm gonna tweak it to a state where I think it's nice for Chaos 9 and maybe 10, but I'm never trying to make a build that's OP for Chaos 10. Because Chaos 10, the way I see it, is worth it in a group, not when solo. So as long as I can get this to be good enough for Chaos 9, I should be fine. And we can see Chaos 8, no problem. Chaos 8 was not a problem. So there's gonna be some tweaking today, but is that the one that repels that's the one that repels enemies. So what if I downgrade it? Will it stop repelling enemies? I just want to get rid of the repelling. See, I'm gonna lose some damage, but it's not gonna repel enemies. Actually, it's gonna lure enemies, so I'm gonna stack the pulling of this with the pulling of this, and then we are gonna have the sucky setup. First of all, let's change to Chaos 9 now. And people were asking me, can you make a Sigmar's Rat setup? And I just never had the time to test what we can do. Let's do another Tower of Chaos just on Chaos 9 before I move on to Relic Hunts. I'm assuming this build is okay for solo, but would be much better if you play it with other people. So you can just group them up all together, and just if they try to attack your teammates, you can pull them towards you. You're gonna see now how bad it is damage wise. It's not perfect damage wise, but the damage adds up. It's got some damage coming from different places, so it's not like it's not there. And thankfully I'm using a lot of skills with cooldown, so of course on my mage those probably would have been dead by now. Maybe on my meteor setup with Justice of the Empire heroic it would have been also that those are dead by now, but see, when I need healing I'm gonna use my number 4. If I don't need it I could just not use it, maybe just use it to stun every now and then. I'm gonna focus on my number 1, number 3, and on my left and right click. But yeah, the damage definitely is not as high as the other builds I've tried, but the survivability right now seems to be doing okay. I wanna try it on a Chaos Troll. Chaos Trolls are the top dogs of boss fights. If I can survive face tanking a Chaos Troll, then it's all good. I only have one problem with my heroic skill. I keep moving all the time. I mean, See, whenever I do my left click, I always move away from my current position, sometimes not where I want to end up. Something else I wanna try would be removing Blessings of the Brave, but that's losing a lot of crit damage. But I wanna try removing Blessings of the Brave and checking something else. But that's gonna be for later when I'm not using this. I'm gonna remove this skill as well and add another. I'm gonna add another heroic skill there. Not heroic, but god skill there. Another build I wanna try is a build centered around the improved defensive strike. Unfortunately, the improved defensive strike comes from a certain shield, so I'm not sure if I should be using that on anything other than a pistolier, but I don't want to be using it on a pistolier. So this last enemy took a while, the others took less time to kill. Alright, let's do a relic hunt now. Survivability wise, he did well. Against those 4-1s, some of my squishier builds cannot survive face tanking them. I was talking about improved defensive strike. If you wanna know what that is, defensive strike is this skill. And it gets upgraded or boosted, might be the better word, from this shield. 400% extra damage with defensive strike. So eventually I will try it. Eventually. Something centered around using this, and if I'm gonna be using this, I might as well use a ring that gives me another 100%, and that's a total of 500% increased damage of that skill. So think of the possibilities, how strong it might be. We will test it shortly afterwards. So another thing I might try is removing these Blessings of the Brave and keeping this, and then that means I'm losing some crit damage and crit chance, but I can probably get Majestic Aura improved. Maybe use Sigmar's Bastion Superior for damage reduction. Because this one gives us crit damage 100% and 10 crit chance. This doesn't give us the crit damage, this also doesn't give us the crit damage. Let's say I remove something. Sigmar's Rat Mastered, I do not want that. If I use just the basic Sigmar's Rat, that's 10% damage I'm losing, so... Thank you Howdir, thank you Howdir if you're watching for the YouTube sub. So let's say I don't take this one, or maybe let's take this one for now, and maybe keep it the way it is right now as a setup and just test it with Sigmar's Bastion Superior and Majestic Aura Superior. Where did Sigmar's Bastion go? Can't find the skill. Ah, there we go. So this one. Now we've got 6 points, and for 6 points what can we do? I mean, this one won't be bad, but I don't think I really need it. I've got this. We don't want that right now. This one is strong for a shield smash based build, by the way, with that shield. So later on I will be doing shield smash defensive strike combo with counter attack stuff. That's gonna be another build I really wanna test. I think Bastion against Corruption might be the best thing we can get here. I'm not seeing anything else worth grabbing for just 6 points. Yeah, that probably is not a bad choice. So let's do Relic Hunt. Demonic Portos, HP. This one, I don't have padded armor, so constantly bleed may not be the best. Maybe this one. Let's see. How can this one do on a Chaos 9 Relic Hunt? Definitely the damage won't be nowhere near the Pistolier, and also nowhere near the Justice of the Empire, the Holy Justice setup with the Solon set. But it's still not too bad. We can still do some damage. And again, this build I'm trying to make as a more of a supporty build for co-op, where you're grouping up the enemies, because that's the whole thing of this set. This is what I'm talking about. Attacking an enemy has a chance to whir all enemies within a certain radius and to deal damage. So this is the main reason why I'm doing that. What's happening? There we go. So you can see the damage is not that great, but the survivability is off the charts. 24 I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna change some rings. I can't. I wanna remove maybe one of those rings. I'm gonna remove the Ring of Fortitude and put the purple Signet ring for more damage, just to see how that could work. So with the next one, let's see if I can tank this damage. Yeah, I could soak this damage, no problem. It does look like the... It looks like the Holy Justice build with the build for Justice of the Empire. It is pretty similar because it's kind of based on it in many ways, just changing the set and changing the god skills a little bit. But I'm still using Justice of the Empire, just not the heroic version. I'm only using the superior version for pulling the enemies closer. So the whole idea of this build is to try and pull the enemies towards you. If they try to hit your teammates, you can pull them by having different hits proccing your set. Because this can pull, and then there's the set that can pull. So the set has a chance to pull, and then this skill can pull as well. And something we can try is maybe implementing Taunt instead of maybe Sigmar's Blessing, or instead of this thing. I'm no longer using Blessing of the Brave, but I'm still getting Indestructible, so I do like this block chance. And something I could remove, which I don't think I really need in the current state of things, would be Sigmar's Bastion, but that's 20% damage reduction, so it's pretty nice if we want to be tanky and pulling the enemies. We don't even need Taunt, I think, because I can taunt the enemies with this thing if I'm not mistaken. Something can taunt, I'm not sure what. Maybe it's the set. Does the set taunt the enemies? Only pull, so we're not taunting them, but we're still pulling them, which is important. You can see even each pew 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 can proc. Every single hit has a chance to proc this. I'm not the best at controlling this, because it's the first time I'm playing with so many things I need to be constantly rotating. I had a similar build before. I had a similar build for this set before. Blazing, I think I coded the blazing something. But yeah, it's just one experiment out of a few experiments I'm gonna do today. I don't think this would be the perfect build to play so. In fact, I would not suggest playing this that much so, unless you really like the playstyle. If you like the playstyle, it's not bad to play it. So it's probably to just keep moving and keep the enemies following me, rather than standing in one place. But wait, I'm using Blade of Vengeance, am I not? Yeah, I'm using Blade of Vengeance, so I need to be making sure they're hitting me. And probably removing Blade of Vengeance and putting a Grudge Settler might actually be a better option. What's with my stacks? Blade of Vengeance, well, I do have 7 stacks, so I guess Blade of Vengeance is not so bad. Because you're gonna be pulling the enemies, you're not gonna have that damage reduction and damage all the time, but you will have it. Grudge Settler and Taunt won't be bad either. Terry the Tank TV, welcome to the Struck Pub, Terry the Tank TV, thank you for the follow, dude, really appreciate that. And I'm seeing Lazarus MTG 9 hours ago has followed me while I was AFK. Thank you Lazarus as well. He's probably not watching, but gotta give him a shout out there. But yeah, people have been asking me, can you make a build for Sigmar's Wrath? I think this is pretty much one amazing combo where you're using Sigmar's Wrath and then you're pulling the enemies inside it to make sure that it's you're squeezing the most out of Sigmar's Wrath that way by pulling the enemies inside its fire fields. You could do something similar with Sowant. And there's things with my Sowant's build I've been using in one of the setups, Sigmar's Herald. I can try and use Sigmar's Herald with this one too. I can try and replace something like Justice of the Empire could probably be replaced. And I can get some points into Sigmar's Herald and maybe Divine Reprisal. It won't be too bad to try it, but then I'm gonna have to sacrifice some points. Alternatively, I can sacrifice Sigmar's Blessing, but that's sacrificing 20% damage and 20% block chance, which gets converted into a little bit of extra damage. I'm not sure exactly how much, but at least 6-7% more damage from that skill there. My block chance right now is 80%, which is the limit. I've got the limit of block chance, so I need to see how much block chance I've got without Sigmar's Blessing. So I think right now I don't have Sigmar's Blessing and I'm still at 80% block chance. So I can probably get rid of it. But that's only because we're not using Blessing of the Brave. The only reason why we are not at like 30, 40 or 50 block chance is that. But that means our crit chance is not that high either. But it's still high enough. I mean, I've got 50 something crit chance. So next step would be doing that, removing Sigmar's Blessing, getting those points, and then spending them towards Sigmar's Herald maybe. just to see which one would be a better fit. I think since we are pulling the enemies, using Sigmar's Herald would be amazing, and it's also gonna taunt enemies, which means we can try and use Grudge Holder instead of Blade of Vengeance for that permanent damage. But Blade of Vengeance is not bad because it also gives us up to 30% damage reduction, and on boss fights that might be amazing. Just make sure we are extra beefcake compared to our teammates that may actually decide to go more glass cannon if we are playing this build. Wait, I think I'm going the wrong way. Medal of the Exemplar, that's the one for farming. You can see how I immediately pulled them, like a Condemned Crusader in Diablo. That's what I always wanted to try and make, and this is pretty nice, having that sucky combo. But it's far from meta. I mean, you can see my damage doesn't go past 10-11 million when everything is proccing. Most of the time it's 7-8 max. But every now and then there's gonna be that 11, 12 or 10 million hit. It's also a little bit difficult to control it, because as I said, my left click does charge into the enemies, and sometimes he ends up being not where I want him to be. I'm also constantly losing my my momentum at the bottom, my modifier, because there's periods of time where I'm not killing enemies, and I could probably play better and try to constantly have enemies around me, so I can constantly have this this modifier at the bottom going up. But that's definitely a setup that can be tanky, and it doesn't even need the Thrice Blessed Copper Medal. I think I'm tanky enough even without all those heals. But with them it's so much better, because we have 3 god skills. And then there's the pew pew pew, which can also do some healing. We can do some pew 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 beams in between the justice and the shielded charge, just to grant us that little bit of extra feeling. But yeah, Conrad has a bit more viable builds now with the rework of the God's Q3 compared to during the Forges. Especially after they fixed this Thrice Blessed Copper Medal, we don't have to rely on energy consuming skills to get healed. We can still heal from our god skills with the Thrice Blessed Copper Medal. Come on, there we go. Let's move and find some more enemies before the timer. Okay, let's find more enemies. Ah, we lost the streak. I was trying to keep the streak up. But William, if you're a new player, what hero are you playing, William, on Xbox? Are you playing on Conrad? Because if you're playing on Conrad, you might want to look into the Holy Justice builds. But the thing is, if you're on console, you're still running the Forges update. And the Forges update had some broken things with Conrad. It made Conrad kind of weak for a couple of months until they patched with the Tower of Chaos. So my latest builds My latest builds are for the Tower of Chaos version, which the console still hasn't gotten. And this is broken. This one. This is right now huge source of survivability. Without that, you might want to be using Medic's Pavis and Wisdom of the Apothecary, which is this one, and then you might want to be using things like what was it called? Break through the ranks, and you might want to put points into legendary healing. So while you're using break through the ranks, you're healing. That is one option. For people on console that are still waiting for the latest update. Let's try and pull as many enemies as we can who will follow me. Let's say this. And by the way, if you've noticed, I'm using the damage herald, damage banner. I'm not even using the damage reduction one. So I can be even more tanky if I need to be. But I don't think I need to be any more tanky than this. Much rather have more cooldown and damage. Because I'm not playing Solant set, so that means the cooldown is not as great as the Solant. So that banner really helps. My cooldown reduction right now, you can see 67.8, which ain't bad. Because 80 is the limit anyway, so it's pretty close to it. Right, let's kill this guy and then go for the boss fight, because he's right around the corner. Oh, throw. This is what I wanted to try. If I can face tank the throw. If I can face tank this guy, then the damage reduction is good enough. This is the hardest to face tank because he has so much damage over time stacked up. First from his aura, second from his fields on the ground. Then he also does nice damage too. Then there's those enemies around me that also do some damage to me. You're gonna see the damage will not be good enough to burst him. But at least my Blade of Vengeance is constantly maxed out right now. The kill will be slow, nowhere near as fast as a Pistolier build kill or as a Solant set build kill, but it's safe. We are surviving. Next, as I said, would be Sigmar's Herald as a test to see how good it works. So slowly and steadily we are getting him down. And imagine this in a team. In a team, this guy just holding the aggro and the rest maybe on Chaos 10, the rest just dishing out damage from afar or next to us, but from behind the boss. Because I think in a team, that's where this would shine, pulling all the enemies together so the team can follow up with AoEs. Because so you're whacking damage, but I will test, as I said, I will test with the purple signet ring next. So on the next map I'm switching my damage reduction ring for 50% extra damage one.
May your faith in Sigmar protect you.
Let's see now, a slightly less tanky, more damagey setup. It's gonna be two changes. Change number one is, first of all, let's get rid of the junk items. Oh, I finally found the Ring of Endurance. It's the first time I'm seeing this ring on Conrad. I knew it existed, I just never had it. And it finally dropped. So this Ring of Endurance is amazing when it comes to damage reduction. And on this build, I think this ring is all I need for damage reduction. So I will test it. I will test using this ring instead of fortification, which means I'm gonna get some damage. And then I'm gonna get the purple signet ring from this build. And put the purple signet instead of the fortitude ring. So this one needs a blessing. Let me see how much my HP is. Ooh, I'm losing a lot of HP. Okay, I'm gonna do something. Bless an item. I'm gonna get just HP. Just HP on that ring. Because I did lose a lot of HP and I want to have at least 300,000. I'm gonna bless some other items to lose some damage but get some more HP. So for example on this one I can do $2,000 more HP is not bad. Then on this one I'm gonna do the same. Okay. So if I get a good version of this ring, it's gonna be nice. So first, can I survive this energy loss? I think I can, without even needing Sigmar's blessing. So as I said, I'm removing Sigmar's blessing, and then I'm getting this thing. Oh, I've had just the right number of points. Taunted enemies take more damage. Do I want to do that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points I need. If I want to grab those 5 points, I'm gonna have to do some changes. First of all, my bog chance is still at 80%, right? 80% bog chance. That means I don't need that much Bastion against corruption, which is gonna give me bog chance and 20% damage, but where did that skill go? Where did it go? Sigmar's Herald is 30% more damage. So that's 10% more damage we squeezed out of there. Now I don't need most of the skills I can put, I really don't need them. Well, I don't really have a choice here. I could try using something like this extra damage when using the potion, or maybe this one to do 10% damage but to take 10% more damage. Not sure if it's worth it. This is so annoying, but okay, I guess we can just get that extra damage from Bastion against Corruption. That's up to 20% extra damage when there's more enemies. This skill gets very weak against bosses, especially bosses that don't have demonic portals on the map, so there's no extra summons. So let's do this. Maybe this. So I'm assuming now if my damage goes up to 15-16 million from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it's gonna be good when everything is proccing, and I'm talking numbers when there's like 10 enemies around me. Most of the time there won't be that many enemies around me. I think I'm doing more damage now. I think there's an obvious extra more damage that we are doing. And that's without me using the other shield. Let's do something now. Let's change shields. Now my spacebar should be doing more damage. I'm wondering how much more damage I can get this to do. With my pistolier build, where I'm stacking damage from many sources, my spacebar can do a lot. Sometimes even 20 million, but mostly around 10. I think I just did 3 million, maybe that was something else. Let's try and pull some more enemies together. And with this setup, while you're using Sigmar's Herald, you can experiment using what's its name? Using that thing. I keep forgetting the name. When using Sigmar's Herald, you can try using the Grudge Holder. The Grudge Holder sword, not Grudge Holder, fuck. Keep forgetting the name. I'm talking about the sword, this one, Grudge Settler. So that's another thing that might be worth doing, permanent 100% damage. I forgot to heal here, so let's do some healing. The next thing I'm gonna do is remove some block chance block damage and get some more damage from one of the passives and remove Bastion against Corruption. I can get the points. I have the idea of how to get those points. Okay, let's try and go here. Look at how many elites we are dealing with right now, because they keep spawning. Shit, I need a kill before the timer runs out. Keep the streak going. I think I need to go that way. Okay. Got second key unlocked. Look at how many enemies are going from the portals all the time. I'm thinking I need to go that way. So I'm constantly losing energy from that ring. Probably having taunt would be a good idea to get all that energy stacked up. Because I don't get that extra damage bonus while I don't have energy. But we can regenerate energy for every enemy hit with our heroic skill, which does work well. So when there's a lot of enemies like that, you can see how our energy is pretty high. And the defenses are not bad at all. 23 million. Not so bad. Okay, let's go this way here, where the chest is. So yeah, the build definitely isn't the meta setup for Conrad, but it is definitely fun. That's one of my favorite skills on Conrad, Sigmar's Rat. This one, the superior version with the 2 flames. And I think the dashing daggers on Elessa needs to work in the exact same way. But instead of 3 flames on the small circle and 3 flames on the big circle, it should be 2 daggers in the small circle, 2 daggers in the big circle. That's how the dashing daggers on Elessa needs to be reworked. Have that small circle, have that big circle, have 2 daggers in each of those. Even 3 would be nice, but it might be a little bit too much if there's 3 daggers. But it would be perfect if they make it to have that small circle of daggers added to it. For when the enemies are kind of close, and when you're doing trap builds you want the enemies to be kind of on the close side too. So I've went the wrong way and I have to return. Let's see if there's a chest here and then move on. Let's see my spacebar. And I see the spacebar only. So that's my spacebar without dual exchange reaction in the mix. Let's try and bump the dual exchange reaction up. 2 million. Okay, not too bad. $2 million is not so bad for the spacebar's ability. But yeah, on the pistolier I get like 7, 8, 9, 10 million, even more sometimes. I've even received 20, I think, when I was in a team. But with the Pistolier set, with the Skaven Killer set, you get that space bar, the shield smash, to be much wider, much wider. That's why I guess it's just best used with that one. But with this ring, I can now make a tanky Pistolier setup somehow. With this 50% damage reduction ring. Alright, since I've got this, let's just move forward towards the boss fight. Let's not fight anymore until the boss. Okay, almost there. And here we are, boss room. Javer's White, okay, that's a very nice row on the boss. So next I'm gonna get the passive skill that makes taunted enemies do more damage. And I'm gonna remove Bastion against Corruption. And that's gonna be permanent damage rather than relying on having a lot of enemies around me to get that damage increase. Come on. Alright, anything to loot here? Junk chest. So I'm wondering if a damage over time build would be okay for Conrad with something like that. But then you're gonna have to get God's Q's do extra damage stuff, which would remove the healing, and that's gonna be a big blow. And you're gonna have to get the ring for extra damage over time. I don't think it's gonna be worth it, because I still think this one will not be that strong with damage over time bonus, because the first hit doesn't count as damage over time, it counts as direct damage, and then the burning that might be caused afterwards probably would be, but this doesn't say it burns enemies, so it's probably not burning and damage over time. So what we do now is we remove that point and we remove some Bog chance. That's 30% Bog damage and HP, and another. Let's remove this one. Fuck, I need one more point. One more point. I'm gonna have to part with that one. There's no other way around it. So with that 5% Bog chance less, we're still at 80. What if I remove this 20%? I am at 62.9, so right now I'm at 82.9, so not that big of an overkill. Okay. So as I said, I want to remove that one and I want to put this one. Constant 20% damage more to enemies that are taunted, and this constantly taunts enemies, and with enough cooldown reduction procs we are getting that to kind of be, even if I don't get the cooldowns, that's 66% uptime. Whereas with this one that I was using before, I could get 20% more damage, but there needs to be 10 alive enemies around me. And also 20% damage reduction. Let me just quickly check something with this thing here. Damages and swells enemies, yeah, that's not gonna work well. I could try and get some taunt in the build for energy, but I don't think we need it. This gives us 40 crit chance, but minus 50 invoke chance for 5 seconds. Enemies take 20% more damage. This is another thing to pull enemies. Another thing that would help pulling enemies, but again, if I'm using that ring, I'm not gonna have energy all the time to benefit from it. Defensive strike is increased. I wanna check something quickly. The next setup would be a defensive strike setup, and for defensive strike setup I'm thinking meteoric set.
Life support systems repaired.
Adi UK, thank you very much, dude, for the Prime sub. Really appreciate the support, and hope you've been enjoying what you're seeing. So yeah, after this next run, I'm gonna switch to the meteoric set and do some counter-attack stuff with defensive strike, and with there's one more thing here, which is shield smash and defensive strike. So it's gonna be counter-attack, shield smash, defensive strike setup that I wanna try later with probably with this thing. Before, when I tried counter-attack setups, I never went into the shield smash territory, but I think it's worth exploring it. It may not be the meta setup, but it might be worth checking out. So let's do Act 5, because I haven't done one today. Insects and maybe unaffected by poison, bleeding and stunning. I don't care if they're not stunned. I'm not playing on Bragi. Let's see this. Alright, that seems to work fine. It's fun. Definitely decent synergy there. But those enemies are annoying to deal with that build, because they have that invulnerability phase where they're barely taking any damage. Look at my energy. My energy keeps getting fucked. Should I just pull those enemies to where there's more of them? And just kill them with the AoEs, or try and get them here. One thing's for sure, it's hard to get me to die unless I make mistakes with this setup. I need to make some serious mistakes to be able to die with this. See, now he's in that invulnerability phase where he's barely taking any damage. And now he's no longer in it. Medic's Pavis, alright. So let's say we go this way. What is the discovery potential that you see when you set up? Discovery potential, basically the way I think it works is it makes this thing go faster. The more discovery potential, the faster this goes. So do you see this times 1, 2, 3, etc. up to times 50? This multiplier multiplies the discovery potential, and based on your discovery potential and this multiplier, as you kill enemies, this goes up slower or faster. So if this is at times 0 with 1000 discovery potential, it's gonna go slower than times 50 with 1000. If this is times 50,000, it's gonna go slower than times 52,000. That's what I think it is. No one from the developers from Echo Games has clarified what this is really, but this is just my guess. And again, I'm not confirming whether that's true. I'm just guessing here what it could be. It makes sense, but it's weird because we have discovery potential on boss fight maps where you don't have this bar. So maybe they just left that out there on the boss fight maps without removing it, or it could be something completely different. But yeah, I think that's what it is. It makes this go quicker on upgraded relic hunts, and they just copy pasted the interface for boss rushes and forgot to remove the discovery potential, most likely. Oh, look at how many there's there. Oh yeah, this is nice. What I've just noticed is this thing procs the pulling. Sigmar's Herald's pulses can proc the pulling of my set. So I'm not sure whether that ring I'm using is the best thing to use. The one with the 50% damage reduction. This one. But it was just me testing stuff and experimenting. I might be better off using something like Oath Ring of Resonance or maybe even Retribution. Retribution might not be a bad idea. This one's also not bad, but let's try Retribution and see how that affects me, whether I'm gonna be too much squishy without it. I still have 24 million defense, so that's fine. Yeah, 24 million still. I can get more cooldowns with that. And I'm not gonna be losing energy. If I'm not losing energy, I can try and use something else, like an energy skill. Let's try, instead of using Justice of the Empire, to use an energy drain skill like Swice. Or what else can drain energy? Whirling Swash can drain energy. Of course, I can even use Pistolier if I want to, but then that's gonna be a different build. But let's see. If I were to use Pistolier, what can I get for this setup? This is definitely not great for a Pistolier though. His damage is nowhere near as a heroic Pistolier, but just checking. I'd much rather have something that's a cooldown skill here, so I can stack the Duelist Chain Reaction. The main reason I was using this was actually the stacking of the Duelist Chain Reaction. Even if it didn't do pulling, for double the pool. And it still does more damage than anything else I can put here. If I want to do some more pulling though, Swice seems to be nice. But I think it was this one that pulls enemies. Or maybe I'm mistaking this with Bragi's side skill that pulls enemies. Let's just check this quickly. Just wanna check how this skill would work, how much damage I can get with it. Because I'm pulling the enemies with the first hit, and then with the Swice I can just finish them off. Do I think they should add story mode for each of the heroes as side missions? Oh, I'd much rather they focus on other stuff, like reworking the invasions and maybe adding some more new items, and maybe adding something like Legendarium or Kanai's Cube, if you don't know what each is. Basically a system that allows us to get the special abilities of certain items without wearing them. Something like that would be a nice addition to the game. So I'd much rather them focus on things like that, things that would add more endgame, more replayability, and more variety in general in the builds and in the maps and things like that. Because right now people get bored because there aren't that many map layouts, and even if it's a different layout, it's still the exact same map, just slightly rearranged things in between. So that's kind of what gets boring, and the invasion mode really needs a rework. I think they intentionally left it the way it is because they might be reworking it as we speak. Not really right now, but I think they are working on invasions because, for example, with the previous patch they released Kiwa, and Kiwa was broken. She couldn't get rewards from invasion, and this was reported to them. But they ignored it with this current update, and I think they ignored it because they're reworking the invasion in general. So instead of fixing something that's gonna get reworked, they probably just postponed this. Because the invasion only goes up to Act 4. So it was made before Act 5, before those enemies I'm fighting existed, and before the enemies from Chapter 6 existed either, so you don't have Chapter 6 or 5 enemies in the invasion, and they're probably gonna add those in the invasion 2.0 or whatever you wanna call it. So with Swice it seems to not be that bad. It seems like I can do some little bits of extra damage with Swice. Nothing too great, just wanted to check it. What if I check this skill? I'm not seeing great damage with that either. Just a couple of million per hit. I still think the best choice here is that skill. The superior justice of the Empire. But if anyone has some ideas about things they want me to experiment with, now is the perfect time to do so. To let me know about those and I can experiment with them. If you, for example, don't have the gear or the levels or the items to experiment with something, I might have them and be able to test it for you. Oh, actually I'm done with this map. I need to just go kill the boss. I should stop killing elites. I'm at max wood quality for the map, so I'm just wasting my time here. Just keep moving. I think this way for the boss. Yeah. Oh, and there's a ranger. Not a big fan when there's rangers next to the boss. Let's see if I can face tank with all the nasty damage over time fields on the ground next to the boss. Yeah, I definitely can't face tank with all the damage over time fields. But that's easily sorted. I can just move a little every few seconds. I can move a little. Because if I stay in one place, there's gonna be too many of those damage over time fields. And then there's this ranger who is annoying. As long as I just move around a little bit, even if it's just an inch. And this ranger seems to be immune to crowd control. I can't pull him. I can pull all the other enemies, but not the ranger. I'm wondering if I can pull the boss next to the ranger. Wow, I killed the ranger. And the Sphinx seems to stay in one place, so not that great. Okay, the Sphinx moved. And the ranger moved as well. So they seem to be keeping the same distance between each other. But that seems to have changed. Shield of what? Of revenge. So I'm doing 3 million with my spacebar on him. There's so many skills to use: my spacebar, my number 4, my number, my left click, my right click, and then there's the god skills for buffs. But I definitely think if you want a build like this, it's much better for group play rather than solo. We're gonna have much better returns in such a build on group play compared to solo. Okay, let's go wood stuff now. Well, no green. At least I got a green on the boss fight from the ranger. But okay. Next, as I said, I want to try the counter-attack stuff. The counter-attack stuff, or more like the defensive strike stuff. Oh wow, that's full inventory. Look at how much stuff is here. So I'm gonna grab this, and this, and move on to meteoric iron. And speaking of meteoric iron, counterattack would be the first thing to try, but I think I shouldn't. Try counterattack yet. But let's figure out the skills first. The skills and god skills. If I want counterattack, I'm probably gonna just keep the basic version of this. And I might grab this one and I might go over here. Counterattack damage increased based on block chance. That's gonna give me 30%, that's gonna give me 30%. I get 20% block chance from my god skills. Let's quickly equip a shield, sword, and just quickly check my god skill, my block chance right now. Block chance 80%. If I remove the passive, block chance 67.9. I can remove 8% block chance from the god skills that are not needed. So this 5 is not needed. And I can probably remove this one. So removing 10% block chance seems to do the trick. Now I can get this, and I can get this. The damage will suffer a lot, but we'll see, we'll see. Might as well grab that one for the final point. So now I'm at 120% counterattack damage with another 58 from the passive that I can get. Maybe this, but we'll see. That's temporary. Want that one. I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. I want defensive strike mastered. Probably gonna grab Justice of the Empire, or what? Actually, let's grab Taunt. Taunt Heroic is more than enough to keep my do this chain reaction. But that's in the wrong place. Fuck, where do I keep the Taunt? Maybe... So let's first put what I want. Wait, why do I have Superior Sigmar's Blessing? Oh, 20. That means I don't need that much block chance, do I? Because that's another 20% block chance. $67.9 without the skill, without that 20%. The thing is now, do I use the superior or the basic? I mean, that's counterattack damage, so we're gonna use the superior over here. We're gonna need some points. I might get rid of Hero of the Desert if I really need points in the end. What I do want is though to get this one, and then I don't want this one, but I want that one. So this one has to go. And Town Heroic, 0 points. So we've got 6 points. I can upgrade that one. Or use this one. If only I could use this for the counterattack stuff. So the question is, do I use that or that? The damage is let's see, slow down 20%. This doesn't have slow down, but this has, oh no, has a chance to slow. It's just differently written, but it's still 20% chance. Bulk chance 2%, energy gain 6, 7, energy gain bonus 2%, 1% stacks and everything. Okay. 3-second cooldown, 4-second cooldown. Oh, I'm missing my banner. That's 5-second cooldown. Alright, so without a banner it's gonna be a little bit tricky. I really need that to heal up. So maybe not using Herald. And then not using Herald opens up some points. 10% counter attack. More counter attack. Damage to champions. More cooldown reduction here. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a good choice. Or I could do this. Where's the cooldown? I can't get the other cooldown. Okay, let's see. How about this? First I'm gonna use this banner. If it doesn't work well, I can use the other one. Now the question is, do I have all of it equipped, all the right items equipped? Losing crit damage, but getting that counter attack damage. And here, yeah, I don't want to lose the HP. Here, more counter attack. Here, more counter attack and cooldown. And now it's time to bless. Right now my counter attack is 38,000. Maybe try with 4 items blessed for counter attack. Let's try with 4.